President Jason Wright, and you're listening to Rambling About Washington.
What's going on, Washington Football Nation? It's your boy Rio, and we are back with another episode of the Rambling About Washington podcast. It's been a while since I did an intro, since I got this YouTube stuff going, so I thought I'd give y'all an intro today. It is Tuesday, August 31st, the official cut down day for the Washington football team, and there is so many things to talk about. One of those things, I'm going to get it out the way right now. We are not going to be talking about Cam Newton during this episode. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starting quarterback. He will be backed up by Taylor Heinicke. So we're not even going to dive into that rabbit hole of bullshit today. We're just going to get to the shits with the roster. It's going to be a little quick hitter, my reactions on what's going on with the Washington football team 53-man roster. First thoughts. Jimmy Moreland was let go. I like Jimmy Moreland, like most of you like Jimmy Moreland. The People's Corner out of JMU. Love this story. Love seeing an undersized, fearless corner who attacks the ball, attacks the screen pass, and plays with those natural, innate instincts that you don't see, like only certain guys get. But when it came to Sundays during the regular season, he was solid, but he's not irreplaceable. So that, while surprising, it didn't shock me. I wasn't flabbergasted by it. I can understand them going younger. It's a youth movement here. Ron is not shied away from the fact that we're going to play young players, and this Torrey McTyer kid came on strong here. Darryl Roberts in that preseason game versus the Ravens, he balled the hell out. If it wasn't for that game, he wouldn't be on the roster. So I'm not upset with them going the younger route rather than the alternative. What I do like with this staff that we have here is that they are self-aware. Self-awareness is so goddamn key in life. I'm willing to accept my flaws and who I am as a person. So it's refreshing to see a coach, staff, front office that are self-aware and they're willing to bite the bullet and accept their own mistakes. Antonio Gandy Golden was a 4th-round draft pick last year, and he was a fucking mistake. And Ron and company didn't waste any time. They didn't even wait for him to be one of the final cuts of the team. They got his ass off the roster. They may bring him back if he goes unclaimed. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes unclaimed, because all he's shown us thus far from his small-ass sample size is that he's a big body on the field. You want to say, oh, he's the post-him-up big-body receiver that goes and gets it. Well, you have to get to a certain point to go and get it. And he's one of the slowest receivers I've seen. And like my guy Louis T pointed out, we were on this round table tonight with Protect Sports. Shout out to him, by the way. Shout out to Big Doug, Street Scores, Manny Choco, all of those guys, by the way. They're all excellent. He brought it up. He said, man, he just doesn't have any dog in him. Like he's not necessarily Josh Doctson where he doesn't love football. It's that he just doesn't have any dog in him. Like, he's not a tough guy. He's not a go out and go getter. He's kind of just like, you know, yeah, I'm here. I can run around and do my best to get open, but nah, that's not going to cut it here. And I appreciate the fact that we went with Dax Milne and DeAndre Carter, 2 guys that can actually separate, get open, and most importantly, they can return kicks, because Lord knows we need that. Everybody started crying when we cut Kelvin Harmon, who still has not been signed, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to still let y'all mourn in peace. But Antonio Gandy Golden has joined his ass in the free agent sphere. And another player that I want to talk about that fits the same mold is Peyton Barber. They signed him last year. I won't call him a mistake because he did what he had to do for us last year. We were never really expecting him to come out and rush for 1,000 yards for us because that's not the type of running back that he is. He's a short yardage back. But I think with the role elevation that we want Antonio Gibson to have in his second year, he's going to get those short yardage carries. So I'm not upset at all. I honestly didn't see a role for Peyton Barber once Jarrett Patterson emerged. So those two cuts right there, Antonio Gibson, woof, knock on wood for that. Peyton Barber and Antonio Gandy Golden, it just shows me that this staff is willing to just say, F it, we'll rinse our hands of mistakes that we've made, and we will move forward with younger players. Even if unproven, we're going to put young, talented players who can produce right now in the mix, and I can respect the hell out of what Don Ron and this staff is doing. Another player that I know is going to be a buzz topic for Washington Football Nation, Troy Apke. I've said it a million times. I'm not even going to pretend like I haven't said it. Troy Apke is not a good defensive back. I will admit he's a good special teams player. Ron Rivera said in his press conference today, he's one of the best, if not the best, special teams players in the entire NFL. Said that with a straight face and everything. This could be Ron loving and capping for his guy and standing by his selection. Or it could be we are so scarred from the ridiculous angles that he takes on his tackles as a safety that we're blinded by that and we can't see how good of a gunner he is. What I will say is you do always notice number 30 on the punt team. He's the first person down the field, which is expected when you run a goddamn 4.3 40. What he hasn't shown is the ability to, once he gets there, making the tackle all the time. It's like the reaction speed and the instincts once he gets on the ball carrier, it lacks. But he's one of the best out there at getting to the returner. So for that reason alone, special teams is going to keep you on the roster more so than a guy like Jimmy Moreland. Also, a guy like Jeremy Reeves. Jeremy Reeves was solid for us this year. That's another cut that a lot of people see. One thing we need to stop doing here is we need to stop attaching ourselves like emotionally and creating these hives for Jag players. Great guy, not insulting who he is as a player. There's no reason why these guys who usually don't pan out in the league once they leave here for there to be such cult-like followings for the Simi Cobbs, Marcus Masons, and Kelvin Harmons of the world. Those are very replaceable players. And I wish the best for Jeremy Reeves. I wish the best for Jimmy Moreland, Antonio Gandy Golden. Shit, Ron cleared the whole damn linebacker room out with cuts today, which only left us with 4. And I imagine we are not going to start the season with just Khaleke Hudson, Jamin Davis, John Bostic, and Cole Holcomb at linebacker. So I imagine there will be some type of move made. I was talking with my guys earlier. I was talking to my guy Adam Aniba, who brought up a very interesting transaction I would make. Everybody's clamoring for Benardrick McKinney, who was just released by like the second team in one offseason, and the KG veteran, KJ Wright. No pun intended. The pick, if I could make an acquisition, would be, like my guy Adam brought up, a trade for Zach Cunningham, the linebacker for the Houston Texans. The Texans are currently in fire sale mode. They're in let's tank, make sure we get the first pick of the draft next year, and stack picks up once we finally are able to trade Deshaun Watson. That's the vibes they're on right now. If anything, I would try to go get this 26-year-old linebacker so we can run the rest of the treads off before he's 30 years old and get more upside than him. But one thing is for sure, you can't go into week 1 with 4 linebackers, because if one were to get hurt, knock on wood, that would be fucking terrible. So a linebacker will be got, and Ron even said so. He stamped it at the press conference today when he said the words, yeah, we're not finished with that position yet. So the linebacker position will be addressed, but Other than that, I don't pretend to be smarter than NFL coaches. At the end of the day, I'm just a passionate fan that obsesses over this shit, that has a lot of strong opinions. I will not pretend in the slightest that I have more cognizance and football IQ than Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney. I'm not going to do that. So we can't overreact over everything. It's cut down day. It's a sad day to see people lose jobs, but it is okay to be fucking real with the guys on your roster and to not lie to yourself and have this overbearing, overarching love for players that will never be blue chip talent, all pros, Pro Bowlers, or relevant in this league. Players from the likes of Steven Montez, David Mayo, Jared Norris, these type of cuts. Let's not get upset over these type of cuts. Keith Ishmael, they drafted him last year. Guess what? Snip, snip. He's out of here already. Wes Martin, trash can. He's out of here. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. They say, oh, Rio, you're being cold. You're being harsh. It's okay. I'm entitled to my own opinion. I promise you, most of these guys will never pan out in this league, so there is no reason to shed tears or spill milk over some of these players. And I said didn't want to address it, but you know what? Fuck it. We're going to get into this shit right now. Cam Newton was released today. I don't know if I agree with him being released, but what I do agree with is that Mac Jones is the fucking man in New England. Y'all have heard me say it plenty of times on my show. Mac Jones is going to be a more than competent quarterback in the NFL. He processes things as fast as anyone in the draft, including Trevor Lawrence. He has great feet, great mechanics, and he's poised in the pocket. He has enough arm to make all the throws, and he throws with touch, timing, and anticipation. And those are things that you don't just grow over time. Those are things you have innately or you never grow them. Shout out to Dwayne Haskins. Some people just don't have it in them. But Cam Newton to Washington was deaded months ago. They have had 2 times, his former coach, former offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, they have had 2 times where they've looked this man in the face and said, I will pass on you. They used compensation to trade for Cam's backup when he was in Carolina last year, Kyle Allen. They do not want Cam Newton on this roster. I love Cameron Jarrell Newton. He is one of my favorite, probably 3 to 5 football players in the history of this goddamn league. He does not have it anymore. He's far removed from being Superman. He is not 2015 Cam. He's probably not 60% of Superman Cam. He is Superman with a whole ass syringe of kryptonite in his throwing arm. That's the Superman that some of you guys are clamoring for here in DC. No, I'm not going to sit up and look in the mirror and say Ryan Fitzpatrick is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But you know what I'm going to say? He is a huge upgrade from what we had last year, which doesn't say a lot, but he is competent enough and has the experience and the skill set to run the damn offense that we want to do here. Cam threw 40% of his passes into the fucking dirt last year. The arm doesn't exist anymore. He looked all right in the preseason, but you know what he didn't do? He didn't win the fucking job. Don't blame it on COVID and him being unvaccinated. This rookie that everyone thinks is going to be trash because he's built like me or like any middle-aged house father is really good. And he beat the shit out of him fair and square for the job. But we want that here? We want that here. Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick is ass. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not good. Taylor Heineke should be. No. Yeah, sure, Cam Newton is better than Taylor Heineke. Sure. Why do we need to invest in a fucking quarterback right now? We're going to invest in a long-term solution at quarterback next offseason. Cam is not the short or long-term solution is a shell of his former self. Stop telling me about what he did in 2015 and 2016 because that guy does not exist anymore. My guy Serge the Shooter, my guy the photographer for the Washington football team, shout out to him. He brought up a good point. Cam at this point is what old man Melo, old man Rondo, and all these old guys that the Lakers have gathered up to put around Westbrook, AD, and LeBron. That's what Cam is at this point. I think his days of a starter are over in this league. I love Cam Newton, and I hope he does latch on somewhere and succeed. But he no longer strikes any fear to you as a passer. So your offense will have to be one-dimensional around him and rely on the fact that he's bigger, stronger, and can run, but not as much as he used to. So I see no purpose of having this Cam Newton to Washington conversation, and I think we should dead all that shit right now and move on from it and support the fucking quarterback that is currently wearing the uniform, the captain's patch most likely, and will be most likely starting 17 weeks here. Fingers crossed, because we don't do that here in Washington. We do not start one quarterback for the whole season. But I believe in the plan. I believe in what Ron and company are doing. And I believe that this is the most formidable collection of young talent I've witnessed as a 29-year-old fan of this football team since Dan Snyder has bought the team. And for that, they have my overbearing confidence that this is going to be one of the better seasons we've seen take place here since the Snyders bought the team. So going into the season, which starts next week, I'm optimistic. I'm still sticking with 11 wins. I may be wrong, and if so, y'all can light my ass up about it, and we can do our best as fans to just feel optimistic, because like my man Smoot said, you are blind if you don't recognize what's going on here. The complete paradigm shift in culture, professionalism, and respectability from top to bottom of the fucking organization. So for that, I'm going to give Don Ron and his plan the benefit of the doubt and not try to outsmart him from a fan's perspective. I like what the 53-man roster looks like. I like the youth. I like to see guys like De'Ami Brown and St. Juice go ahead and carve out a role immediately as third-round picks. Third round seems to be our fucking cup of tea of bullseye picks. Maybe we should. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say let's draft a quarterback in the third round. We undoubtedly need to trade. We need to push all the cards in the offseason to go get a quarterback. But we're not there yet. The season starts next week. In 9 days, the Cowboys open the season versus the Bucks. Hard Knocks ends tonight. And speaking of that, I'm going to have my guy Mark Holmes, Dallas Cowboy fan, Virginia native, coming on the show this week. We're going to do some eyes on our rivals, and we're going to talk about his Cowboy fanship, Dakota Rain Prescott's health. Will Zeke come back? All those good things. We're going to preview every team in the NFC East in the eyes of our rivals segment. I have Colleen Wolfe from NFL Network joining me tomorrow, and that's going to be a hell of an episode. So make sure y'all are subscribed to the Rambling About Washington and Rambling with Rio Robinson podcast YouTube channel. I'm going to have content churning out probably 3 to 5 videos a week all season. First time season ticket holder, I will be vlogging from the tailgate, from the post gate, from the section 101 at the 50-yard line. I'm going to be out there repping all year long. I'm going to be collaborating with some amazing guests. I plan to get someone, either a fan or someone that represents or podcasts about the opponent of the week every week. And we got got a lot of special things coming to y'all here at Rambling with Rio and Rambling About Washington. But until next time, hail to the nameless football team. Deuces.